Welcome to Here for the Horses. So glad you are here for the horses. We have a cool day today. We're going to talk about something that I accomplished this weekend that I just got back from 3 days at the Enumclaw Pro Rodeo. I was running sponsor flags for the first time ever for that pro rodeo, so that was a crazy experience. And then we're going to talk about some things that I observed at the rodeo. So we're going to talk about fatigue. Fatigue. Now, whenever anyone says fatigue, we all kind of know what that is. It's like, I'm tired, I'm drained, I want to sit down in a nice cool area with, some water, right? Well, I noticed different types of fatigue. So I want to talk about different types. Now, I've made up these names, but I want to talk about body fatigue. I want to talk about mind fatigue, and I want to talk about feet fatigue. Okay. So we're going to talk about those things and just kind of some things that I observed, and then how if it had to do with my horse, how I handled it, and then kind of why I picked up on them, and like what you see when you see those things, and then that's going to go into the biceps femoris. Okay, it's the muscle we're going to be talking about tonight. It's really cool. It's a really cool muscle. So we're going to talk about that. Okay. So let's start off. Well, we'll start off instead of a funny video. Luckily, I'm not on the funny videos. This weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I ran sponsor flags for the pro rodeo. First time I've ever done it, first time Georgia's ever done it. It was massive amounts of strategic planning and training in order to be confident enough to do that, because I don't need to look like a fool in front of 1,000 people, and I don't want my horse to get hurt either, or myself. But it was a lot of work. And so next week, I'm going to talk about everything that I did to set us up for success. And that's what I'm going to call it, setting yourself up for success. And it's one thing when you have, like when I got Georgia, I have the rest of my life to get her where I want her. I'm not in a rush. But there's a difference when you have a timeline. Okay. Enumclaw Pro Rodeo was this weekend. So either I'm in it or I'm not in it. And I would be fine with either one of those things. But because I had a short period of time to prepare her and me, I trained her in a very specific way, which I would not normally do. And I'll talk about that next week. But I did it so that she was going to be the most prepared that she could be for the event. And out of 10, she was at a 9 this weekend. Like she killed it. She killed it. Okay, so let me show you a video of her just killing it, because she did so good. And I had some really sweet people send me stuff that was pretty cool. They sent me like this one here. This is a friend of mine. She sent this to me because she was there. I didn't know she was there. So here's me in Georgia, and this was really special because this was our first time. Oh no, this wasn't it. We'll do that one next. But here's Georgia and I. And what was super cute is that she called out Georgia's name. So I just love that so much because she was like, Georgia. So that was really cool that she did that for me. Here we go. Can I get a hallelujah? Someone saying, can you get a thank you, Jesus, Lord have mercy. And then this one right here is really special because Old Cannery is the main sponsor. So this main sponsor flag, we go out first. And so this was the first time she went out first and held the big sponsor's flag. So this was pretty cool. So there you go. So thank you everyone who prayed for me, which I had asked for. I appreciate it. Thank you. It was a big accomplishment. It was the second biggest accomplishment that her and I have done. And the first biggest accomplishment was that I started her under saddle. So it was a pretty big deal. And one of the main things that made it so, trying was that she hadn't done it and I hadn't done it. So normally when I'm teaching her things, I have either confidence in it or I have a particular skill set for it. And so for this, I didn't have either one of those things. So it was pretty crazy and it was very specific on how I trained her to do it. And we'll talk about that next week. So I feel good. Raise your hand if when you have like a weekend where you're like nerves, a lot of preparation, I kind of do it during clinics too. If you just like eat everything in front of you or you don't eat at all, like which one are you? If you eat everything in front of you, raise your hand. Okay, nothing at all. Oh, I wish, man. I wish I was you because I'm just like, I better get some calories in me so I don't pass out like I'm gonna pass out. I have reserves for days. Oh, it's something weird about when I have nerves, like I want to eat a lot and then I need to make sure I go to the bathroom because I don't want to be stuck and I have to go to the bathroom. I gotta go to the bathroom. And then when I get home, it's like decompression. Are we gonna eat something or what's going on? Espresso martini? Yes, I don't know what's happening. So I'm excited to just get back on my normal eating schedule because my body's like, what are you doing? What are your plans here? So yeah, that was fun. But I did want to share just a couple really funny stories with you, and then we'll kind of get to what I was going to talk about. Um, so we'll talk about this next week also. I brought Georgia home every night. Everybody else stayed there with their horse. Um, I did that for multiple reasons, and we'll talk about that next week. But it was really funny because Georgia is the boss mare, but she's a very nice boss mare. She doesn't bite, kick, she doesn't put her ears back, she doesn't, challenge him or anything. She just owns the position. And the other two, kind of, oh, thanks, Georgia. Well, the first night when we came home, it was kind of a big deal that she did so well. I gave her grain and I go, okay, let's go get some water. Got her some water. She drank really well. I put a video up of her drinking for like a minute straight. It was really funny. And that was one of the reasons I brought her home. Um, but it was funny because I turned her out and the two knuckleheads were standing out where they're always waiting for her to come out. And she was like, get out of my way. I'm a rodeo horse now. And she was like, move it, move. And they both went, oh my gosh, what's happened to her? So I thought that was funny. A little rodeo drama queen now. She makes herself known. Another thing that I thought was really funny that I was going to share with you guys is that a horse bumped into her and they're all used to like just jamming in there, like none of them care, but she kind of has her 4 foot rule, right? And that's with humans also. She just wants that 4 foot barrier. And this one horse like swang his butt into her and she looked back at him like it was just this look of like, are you serious? You just bumped into me? How dare you? And then the other funny thing, which kind of goes along with that, is that when we were walking out, we were done for the night, and I get off of her a lot because I am a big girl. Almost 6 foot, 180 pounds. I get off of her. I don't need to sit on her back for 4 hours straight. So in between each run, I get off. And so I was walking her back and either a cowboy that was walking by either smacked her butt, which I mean, she has a nice butt. So I can see the temptation, okay? But he either accidentally ran into her or smacked like patted her butt like that's a nice looking horse. And she went, oh, and she like looked back at him. And then I looked back at him and he went, oh, sorry, sorry. And then both of us at the same time just went and turned back around and walked off. It was really funny because we both had the same, like, don't touch the merchandise, sir. Look, don't touch her. It was so funny. So she had a little attitude, but it was fun. So let's talk a little bit about things that I observed. Now, we all know about physical fatigue, right? So today was wildly hot. So today was extra bad. And the rodeo was from 1 to 3. So it was the worst time during the day. I mean, people in the stands were like just dumping ice water on themselves, just like dousing themselves. It was wild. Um, so some things that I saw for physical fatigue were dehydration. Okay, dehydration. My team did a great job making sure that their horses were hydrated. They did a really good job. One thing I want to talk about is for electrolytes. If you're giving electrolytes, you have to have one, if you're doing the tube stuff, fine. But if you're putting it in the water, you have to have one thing of the electrolytes and then one clean water with nothing in it. You don't want to have both buckets with electrolytes in it. They have to have free choice of just the water too. Okay. So that was important. On some of the electrolyte paste, or if you look up the instructions on the website, it says when to give it. So important, the one that my friend was using, it said to give it 15 minutes before working out or before the long exercise and then 15 minutes after. Okay. So pay attention to what the directions are because they all work a little bit differently. And then I've also heard like you can try apple juice, but make sure that they have a choice where they get to either drink the pure water or whatever has the electrolytes in it. Because if they don't like whatever you put in the water, then they're not going to drink at all. That's a problem. And I always recommend, I mean, I also recommend, and some of you guys can tell me what you do, because a lot of you travel a lot more than I do. Or to shows. Kristen, I know you go to a lot of shows. Nancy, you're always doing clinics, stuff like that. But I was told, well, and I know this to be true when I went to the ocean, to bring your own water if you can. So a lot of trailers have those cool water things in them. Make sure those are clean, obviously, and fill those up with home water because I always joke like nobody wants to drink somebody else's tap water. Doesn't taste as good. Okay. And then when I went to the ocean, I turned the water on and it came out green sludge. And I was like, oh, so I let it run until it was clear. And then I filled the bucket up and I brought it over to the horses. And my dad's old horse was like, he went, I swear he went, nah. He was like, I'm not drinking that. Okay, so that particular weekend was, or that particular ride was a day ride, so it wasn't that big of a deal. But had I not brought, had I been there for 3 days and he put his nose up at the water, it'd been a problem. Okay, so if you can bring water from home, does anyone else have water tricks for their horses? Other things that they've tried that help?
I buy dried molasses
Oh, dried?
and yeah, I buy it in 50-pound bags and I parse it into baggies, 2 cups to a baggie. And then, like you talked about, a bucket of just straight water. And then in the other bucket, I put in a cup of the dried molasses and stir it up, and it dissolves pretty good. But that is always a yes. And I always carry like Redmond salt or something.
Oh,
And
yeah.
if they pinch test a little dehydrated, then I put in maybe just half a teaspoon or that. Horses sweat hypertonic. Their sweat is more concentrated than um, any other animal. So they do need those. They need more than sugar. They need a little bit of salt. But the
Yeah.
molasses thing works great. And it works great in the winter when it gets really cold here. Horses will go off water. And if, somebody will call and say, oh, my horse isn't drinking. And you go over there with just tepid water, not warm water, but just tepid, and put in a cup of that molasses. They are on it.
Yeah.
So,
Sandra says, I live in Florida and we use molasses
yeah.
water, about half a cup to 3 gallons of water.
Okay.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yep.
Replenish mash. What is that, Sandra?
Sorry.
Molasses for me.
Sorry, it's the Purina product, Replena.
Oh,
Replena
okay.
Mash. We use that a
Okay,
lot
cool.
too. It has like dehydrated carrots in it. And
Yeah. That's
yeah,
nice.
they kind of like that too.
Yeah. Good. What about you, Kristen?
I was gonna all of the above, but I was also gonna say that just take your own water. And I say that because my main barrel horse is super picky about water, and
Yeah.
I didn't go spend the money on one of those jugs. I'm cheap because I spend all my money on horses. I have
Mhm.
just water coolers that you get, like people water coolers, and I fill two of those up, put them in the back of my truck in the corners, tie them in, and that's what I use. So you don't have to go out and buy the water jugs for the trailers or anything. Like I said, I'm cheap. So I just have the water coolers for people, and that's what I put water in. And if you bring your own water, your horse already knows the water. They're not gonna sniff it and turn their nose up because my horse will.
Yeah.
And it's just not worth being dehydrated. And I also use
No.
electrolytes. I do electrolytes daily, especially in the summer when it's super hot, and then also in the winter whenever I think that they're getting any kind of being dehydrated at all.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, so there's a lot of tricks out there, which is good, but I definitely noticed some horses with dehydration. There's the pinch test and then the gum test. Okay, so always check those if you think that's an issue. Molasses is cool. I've never heard of that. Oh, Mary said I start a little apple cider vinegar in a water at home and take ACV to place I'm going and to the water. Just capfuls seems to work. Okay, that's cool. Right on. I haven't tried that one. So yeah, there was a little bit of dehydration. Okay, dehydration does some funny things. So it can make them tired or it can make them hot and a little bit of loopy. Okay, so there was some of that going on. Although some of these horses are, drill horses, they get a little spun up, so it's hard to tell. Okay. They're kind of dragging. So when the horses that were pretty fatigued, you had that kind of like behavior that's just a little bit out of ordinary. So Georgia today was starting to show, well, we'll get into it. It wasn't physical fatigue, but mental fatigue. Cross cantering. Crossfiring. That happens with physical fatigue. Especially, this was interesting for me to watch this weekend because when we do the circle all the way to the left, to the left, to the left, to the left, never to the right. Okay. So the leg that was giving out and they would switch to the crossfire was the left hind. Now you're thinking, well, they push off with the right hind though. Yeah, but they're on the curve. And so it was what I noticed, it was the left hind that was getting fatigued, the left hind. I also found that, my brain goes glutes, hamstrings, Gaskin, hock, fetlock. That's what I went to look for. But when I was the Queen's horse, Julia Hendrickson, her horse started a crossfiring. a lot when he was doing his queen run. And she goes, he never crossfires. I'm like, okay. So when I started looking around on him, it was the bicep femoris. Okay, so that's one of the hamstrings, and we're going to talk about that today, and we're going to talk about the insertion points, and it makes a lot of sense. But it was the left hind biceps femoris. Okay, so you have to think about what work they're doing. Now, obviously, we went to a circle to left the whole time, so that makes sense, right? And then he also was doing like a lot of cow work and a lot of other stuff. So he was just kind of tired all over. Also tripping. Okay, so body fatigue, tripping. Get a little irritated. Those are some things that I noticed. Okay. Mind fatigue. This one was fun. So, you know, we've heard the saying, my horses run out of quarters. They're done. They've had it. Okay. So there were multiple horses there that were having issues just standing still in between runs. And I mean, in between runs is like 15, 20 minutes. It's not like a short, like, oh, it's 2 minutes they have to wait. It's like we're standing around. Okay. So what they start doing is they get antsy. They throw their head around. Some of them like body check the other horses, which I thought was really interesting. Georgia despises that. She really does not like that. And so what I found, this is one of my solutions, because that was really making her mad when other horses would just kind of blah right into her. I would go stand by myself a lot. I would get off of her because I'm not going to sit on her for 20 minutes not doing anything. So I would get off of her, go stand off in a corner or on the side or in the shade if I could find it. I could the other 2 days. Today there was no shade. That sucked. So that mental fatigue there where they get they get like bombarded mentally, okay? So a lot of head tossing, a lot of like kind of squirrely behavior. So they're just kind of spinning around for no reason. You're literally asking them to stand still. And they couldn't quite pull that off. What was another one? Being all jazzed up. Irritated, yeah. So just like just irritation, and then oversensitive. Just really overly sensitive. Okay. So Georgia in general stands real just she's good at standing, just like in my videos. That's her. She just stands there. But whenever they kind of need to move their feet, and what I noticed, there were 2 things that I noticed. Georgia likes to stand. She's cool. Like she'll stand in one spot for 20 minutes. If she's getting nervous, she starts moving around. Okay. So for me to help her, I let her move because if you try to get her to stand still when she's in that state, it goes downhill real fast. Like you're either going to get off or you're going to have a fight. That's what I saw a fair amount of that. And nobody gets off there. I'm like the only person that gets off my horse. It's really funny. But you're either going to get off or you're going to have a fight with them. So I'm not going to do, you know, if I'm not going to do either one of those, I'm going to let her move her feet. But what I don't want to do is have her continue to move her feet and not stop. So what I would do is 1 lap, come back, chill. And I would make sure I chilled out. Okay. So that was one of the things that I saw. The other thing that I saw was when the people were nervous or amped up or like scared or whatever, they would get their horses to move. And in turn, that would make their horses nervous. Okay. So they were trying to, you know, warm them up or You know, when people are like, I gotta lunge my horse to get the crazy out, when it's like, yeah, they're not crazy. They're not. So there was one young gal there, and I'm like the new person on the team that's never done any of this stuff, so I'm certainly not gonna tell anybody what they should do. But there was a young gal there. She was walking her horse around, like really like fast though, like in a tight, small circle. And I was like, I talked to one of my friends there, and I was like, she's amping that horse up. Like that's the last thing he needs to do right now. He just needs to stand. And my friend knows her, and she's like, hey, get over here. And the girl, she's young, she goes, am I in trouble? And she's like, no, but get over here. And she says, you're amping him up by doing that. Let him relax. And so I told her, I said, instead of thinking he's being bad, I want you to start thinking he needs my help. How can I help him? And when you change that mindset, because there's a lot of that going on, where they're like, oh, they're acting up. I gotta, rake on their face and do all this. And it's like, instead of that mentality, because she's young, so I want her to learn this soon. Think to yourself, he obviously needs help right now. How can I help him? Because he's high anxiety horse, this horse that she was on. And so she goes, I need to calm down. I need to calm down. And we're like, yeah. And we're like, it's you, right? And she goes, yeah, I need to breathe. I need to breathe. And I go, yeah. So just take a breath. He's being fine. Relax your hand, sit back in your saddle, stop asking him to walk around in tight circles. And she was like, okay. And she goes, and she like just, and he instantly stopped moving so fast. Okay. Like really a quick, fast response. So that was some mental fatigue that was being caused, right? That fatigue was being enhanced by just her being anxious. And then thinking, well, if you have an anxious horse, move their feet. Well, you don't always move their feet. That's really good to move horses' feet that need to move. But some horses, if you can let them stand still and relax and take a deep breath, they do better that way. So that's similar in massage also. So as you guys are working on horses, you've seen horses that Cinder does it, right? They need to walk, they need to do a lap. Jennifer, your horse does it. They need to do a lap. Okay. So you would not want to stop them and tell them to stand, because then they just move your feet, honey. It's fine. Come back around, give them a moment, and then they come back in that circle and they sit down. Okay, so I saw that kind of play out this weekend. It was really interesting. I enjoyed that. That was fun to watch. So yeah, mental fatigue was real. A lot of horses were tapping out today. Georgia tapped out today. Georgia was like, and you know what I noticed about her is the first day she was like okay with horses kind of like bumping into her and stuff. Second day and the first day she did awesome. Like really, really good on the runs. She went in calm. She picked up the correct lead. She went around at a nice pace. Like those videos were from, well, one of those videos was from today, but she was like 10 out of 10 nailing it. Like she's like, she's done this for 10 years. It was so, so good. And then yesterday she was amazing, really good. And she was still kind of okay with horses bumping into her, or other horses like acting up around her. It didn't affect her. She still just was like, whatever. And then I did see at the end of the night, it was funny because that's when that cowboy, like, that's a nice looking horse. She didn't like that. And then today, she just did not appreciate any horse within like 3 feet to 4 feet. So I kept moving her to get her away from other horses, but like at that point in time, I had like my friends were like, "Hey, Erin," they'd come just right up next to her, and she would do that thing. And it's funny because, right, on the third day, obviously, she's not scared of the horses. She's not you know, worried, but had enough of them coming into her space. Like she just didn't want to do it. And we also had one of our runs was a little bit rough. And now that I'm looking back on it, I think my inside rein was too tight. So that might have been my fault. But I was telling her, and then she had this going on all day today, just like real tight. Okay, so that's mental. She's done. She was done. And so what was nice was that I had to fill in and do multiple runs today for one of the other gals who was switching out horses. But after that, she goes, if you want to go, Erin, you can go. And so I go, yeah. Because there were 2 to 3 more chances for me to run flags, and I was like, nope, we're done. Okay, so I called that off. So stopping that mental fatigue, putting her back in the stall, giving her water, giving her food. She got 2 apples and a pear. Okay. And then getting her home was important. And we're going to talk about why I took her home every night. Well, because I could, first of all, which was great. But that had to do with making sure she didn't get too much going on for the weekend, because that would have played into mental stuff, not physical, mental. Okay. So the mental fatigue. Now, the other thing I want to talk about is feet. So feet. Georgia's barefoot. She's got some pretty nice feet, but they certainly are not strong enough to do 3 days of gravel walking and circles and hard ground and walking from multiple barns with gravel roads, right? So I ride her at my place, I ride her in the arena. She has gravel paddocks that she goes in, but this weekend was me walking her from a far barn, and I didn't ride her most of the time. I probably walked her 80% of the time, but on a gravel road to the warm-up area, which is just a gravel parking lot, which you were walking around on. Okay. So the first 2 days she had her, they're called Renegade Vipers, they're little boots. And then for a while, I was calling them Birkenstocks, but my horse is no hippie. You know what I mean? She's not no hippie. And so somebody looked at her feet and was like, oh, this is so awesome. She's got clogs on. And I was like, oh my gosh, they're war clogs. She's got her war clogs on now. So that's what I call them now, war clogs. So she had her war clogs on her front 2 feet. Friday and Saturday. And then this morning, well, no, Saturday, about halfway through, I started noticing that she was walking slower. Okay. So I'm going to call it feet fatigue. It's not a real word, but I'm going to call it feet fatigue because I didn't put hind boots on her because her hind feet are better than her fronts, and she puts more weight on the front. So the front feet were protected, but by this mid-second day, she started slowing down in the way she was walking. Now, it's not a problem when she gets in the arena, because the arena is really nicely groomed and all that. But just walking her from the barn and I stopped doing the circles with everyone, because I was like, nope, I think her hind feet, they weren't lame, but she was slower. So today she wore her, all 4 of her war clogs. Okay. Because her feet had just had enough of the hard ground, the gravel. She didn't have a stone bruise, which is great, but I didn't want her feet to hurt anymore. So she got her hind boots on, which was good. So that was another thing I noticed. I think my horse was the only one barefoot. I think everybody else had shoes. So that's why I noticed it though, because The horses with shoes did fine because they're, you can go over whatever terrain with that, but my girls' feet are not used to that much hard stuff. So I'm glad I was prepared enough and always had those boots with me because that saved the day for her. She would have performed anyways, just because she's tough. She's tough. All right. So what brings me to the biceps femoris was that that story I told you about the Queen's horse. His name's William and he's George's boyfriend. They are twins and they look super cute next to each other. He's a real chill guy, real relaxed, real gelding sort of attitude. He was crossfiring. Okay. So she was like, Aaron, can you check him out? So I start looking around the normal spots that I was thinking, which are glutes, first of all, check the glutes, hamstring, semitendinosus, semimembranosus down the hind. Okay. I checked the hock. I thought it was the hock because she was like, he didn't get his hock injections. He didn't get his hock injections. And he's 18, so he was working super hard this week. Like he's been working super hard a lot. George has been working really hard too. So I'm looking in these spots and I'm not finding much. I was not finding much. And so I was like, he didn't have reactions, so I wasn't seeing a lot of reactions. So then I said, I'm thinking to myself, it can't be these. I need to look harder. So the TFL was fine. Gaskin was okay. The hock seemed okay. If it's a joint issue, I can't do anything about it except get blood flow in there. But his hocks didn't react until I started working the bicep femoris where it inserts into the stifle. Then all of a sudden his little eyes were like blink, 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 blink. Okay. And then he turned around and looked at me and I was like, oh, we just found it. We just found it. Biceps femoris. Okay. So I have this cool book. You guys know this is one of my favorite books. Let me show it to you. Woo! This one. Okay. It's pretty cool. So let's talk a little bit. I'm going to show you so just take a look at the skeleton first. Okay. Oops, skeleton there. That, okay. Now look, this one is cool because it has these great photos. So we're looking at the orange. Okay. Hold on. This one right here. Now look at where it attaches to. Right there. Okay, now I was looking up here, and then I was looking down the hind, and then I was looking here, and I skipped over this. And I didn't get any reaction from him. And then I start looking at this, and he starts blinking. Okay, so kind of look at these cool photos. You can see it now, right? You can see that there. You can see where that attaches. Isn't that cool? Right there. Now you don't really want to see that, but okay. And look at it down there. Awesome. Isn't that cool? Look at these. Boop, 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 boop. Look at that sucker. Oh my gosh. It's amazing. Okay. So that muscle on him was fatigued, not pulled, not strained, but very, very tired. Okay, so I worry a little bit. Oh, here's another great photo. 2 photos. This one shouldn't make you queasy if you have a hard time with dissections. This one is a very light dissection. But look at that. Okay, but look at it. This is a real life horse dissection. Well, not live, but see it? Isn't that cool? Okay. So you can really see where that muscle plugs in. Now, what I want to do is share my screen with you, and I'm going to take you to a site that I like, and I've shown it to you before. This person is awesome. I like the way, oh, my friend, oh yeah, that's the same one. My friend, sang, oops, sorry, sang the, national anthem with her son. She's a opera singer. She sings for Tacoma, or did sing for Tacoma Opera. And her son was on American Idol, and they did the national anthem together. It was awesome. It was so awesome. Oh my gosh, a duet of the national anthem. It was cool. So I'm gonna try to put that up if I can. I know that the rodeo queen got, or her husband got, the video. Okay, Thurza. This woman is amazing, very detail oriented. So this is Thurza. She did a little write up on the biceps femoris. Okay, so let's talk a little bit and we'll go through it. Biceps femoris is a superficial muscle and the most powerful of the three hamstring. Okay, so the hamstring is a group of three muscles. It's the semitendinosus, semimembranosus, and the biceps femoris. So it's the most powerful out of those three. And you can see that here, right? It's complicated muscle that originates with two heads that quickly forms a single mass muscle that soon divides into three parts, which are visible in their division as it descends the limb. So it's fun to watch because, again, this is obviously not the muscle of this horse, right? Most of the stuff that we look at is drawings or artistic, impression, unless it's a dissection. But even dissections, the muscles look different in different horses. So this looks like a warm blood horse. Your Shetland pony is going to look a little different. Your mule is going to look a little different. Your Arabian is going to look a lot different because they're just built differently. Okay, so this is kind of the artistic idea of what that would look like. So just kind of remember that you don't want to get too hung up on different charts and stuff like that, because even charts vary significantly. Okay. Let's see, what does she say? Its origins and insertions have been cause for confusion and controversy in anatomy texts. You'll find that also, and I was actually going to look up my main textbook to see if I caught onto that or not. But it says, as such, I adhere to the findings upon dissections, which is a good idea, from which it stems that the muscle has two origins. The points of the first origin include the third, fourth, and fifth sacral dorsal spines, the first caudal vertebra, the gluteal fascia, and both the sacroiliac and sacrotuberous ligaments. Its second and primary origin arises from the ischiatic tuberosity. Okay, so that's going to be right about there. The muscle inserts into the patella, the lateral patellar ligament, and the femur, the tibial crest, and the fascia latae, and the calcaneus. Okay, so look at all these insertion points. Lots of insertion points. It thus has similar origins and insertion points as its hamstring counterpart, the semitendinosus. One of my favorite muscles. If I had to rank them, I do love me a semitendinosus. The bicep femoris is a multifunctional muscle. It extends. This is cool, and it takes a little while for your brain to go, what? So you kind of have to know your joints, right? The hip joint is here, not here. This is the point of hip. Hip joint is here. So you're thinking hip joint, stifle, hock. Okay. So you got to kind of remember that when you're doing them. It extends the hip, hock, and stifle. So just think it extends everything in the hind leg. So that makes it a propulsion muscle, right? Because that's what's happening when you extend everything. Also flexes the later one, latter one. As such, it is one of the few muscles that can both flex and extend the same joint. And then I was trying to think of what the other one is. Type it in the notes if you can think of it. I forgot to think about it for an extended period of time. Maybe. I don't know. Nah, it's gonna bug me now. Now I'm gonna put that in the notes in our coaching group. In quite some performance horses, this muscle feels tight and is under a lot of strain. Okay, so that would be William for the last 3 days, because he's 18 also, and this is certainly not his normal, like he hasn't been doing this sort of work for 10 years. This is a big change in his work, just like it was a big change for Georgia. This was a big physical change to work this hard. Like we have not worked this hard before. We've never cantered this much ever. We just don't. My goal for her, for Georgia, has always been relaxation. So we do a lot of time in the trot because I feel like if you don't have a relaxed trot, don't go up a speed. So we've just spent a lot of time at a trot. And then it got to the point where I was like, okay, I actually do need to canter this horse. So then I started cantering her more. And there's a lot of tension there. So looking back at it, I'm like, I probably should have started her cantering earlier. I don't know. You never know, do you? Okay. Anyways, so that's kind of cool about that muscle. Oh yeah, stifle dysfunction. Okay, so here's one of the issues that you can have is stifle dysfunction, because it inserts in there. And that's what we found with William, is that when I went or did some circles around that stifle, I got the blinks and then I got the huge releases. So he did not, I worked on him Thursday. He did not cross canter Friday or Saturday. So that massage lasted that long, which was good. And then today he was kind of a mess. He was kind of a mess. Julia came out and she looked at me and she just was like, I don't know. And she goes, he's toast. And I was like, they all are. They're all toast, either mentally or physically. And so she was like, I feel like I need to give him rest. And I go, I agree 100%. Because she's supposed to go to another rodeo this next weekend. And I go, I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it. Not at 18 years old. That's too old. Anyways, discipline use. Strenuous exercises are known for causing tears in the muscle tissue and fascia. Associated disciplines that put a lot of strain on muscles, especially in higher levels, including hunting, show jumping, dressage, eventing, Western, polo, and racing. But they left out rodeo. Rodeo's tough. That is a wild discipline. For example, in dressage horses, the 3 portions of this muscle can split as the result of fascial tears from the moment they're asked to perform. See the pirouettes, the canter pirouettes. So think about that, what that is. It's very similar to cantering in a circle the same direction, right? Especially if you're starting to work on that. As these moves require high collection and more pressure on that joint. Upon palpation, these separations of the 3 portions of the muscle feel like holes within the structure. Yeah, that's awful. And then fibrotic myopathy, I see this mostly in the semitendinosus, to be honest with you. Although I don't really look for it in the bicep femoris. So I thought that was, look away if you get sick with that sort of stuff. Sorry. But here are some scar tissue of that happening. That's pretty wild. Okay. So that's the bicep femoris. And I did find that, that was under a lot of strain. That muscle particularly was under strain, with all the work that we've been doing. So just something for you guys to take a look at. Wanda said Thursday taught the equine energy metabolism workshops that I attended. Yeah, I bet those were awesome. My friend, actually my trainer, Rada, just came back from an actual dissection, And I was like, you went to a dissection? How did you get in? Who did it? When is it? Is there another one? Can I come? And she was all hush hush about it. So I might have to squeeze that information out on her later. But she was like, it was kind of life changing for her. She's a student of horses, like a lot of you, all of you. And she was upset with how much damage she saw on horses on the autopsies. So I go, yeah, I know. I know. It's a mess. It's a mess. Um, but and so she kind of had a lot of these aha moments while she was doing this. So she's been talking about that a lot lately. And then I also just took you guys Centaur Biomechanics. I talk about him a lot. Russell McGuire Mc something or other. He's got a long last name. But Centaur Biomechanics does 2-hour webinars. And so I just watched another one on asymmetry and then the other word for it. He was comparing them. He was like, are horses asymmetrical or are they, I can't remember. But he was really interesting because there's all these studies that like horses will smell out of one nostril, or he said that they spook more from one eye, which was the opposite eye that I thought it was going to be. And they think more they figure stuff out on the other eye, which, we hear about that in training, right? Change eyes so that they see out of both of them. And then he was talking about how babies will suckle. So some of them will suckle just on one side all the time. They never suckle on a different side. And then some of them do it on the other side, but he didn't find any real benefit to knowing that. And then I love it that he also said, I don't know what you do with any of this information, but it's really interesting, isn't it? And I was like, thank you. I do that stuff all the time. Yeah, because when you notice things more often, when you pay a lot of attention, you just get to add it to kind of your storage facility of information about your horse. And then when it becomes important, you go, oh, well, my horse doesn't do this. My horse does this. My horse likes this. My horse doesn't like this. And I remember this weekend, my friend Julia, she was like, you catch so many things, just little odd, weird things that other horses are doing. She's like, I'm learning a ton from you. And I was like, oh yeah, I'm weird. I catch a whole bunch of stuff all the time. And I know all of you are like that because when I'm talking, you're all getting it. So it's pretty cool that other people get excited about noticing things about their horses too. So it's pretty fun. But that's the bicep femoris. So this week, what I want you to go do is go check that bicep femoris. Oh, and I think I pulled up, did I pull up a photo of it? Hold on. Yeah, here's some good ones. Let me show these to you. So what I want you to do is I want you to, well, one, see if you can see the bicep femoris in your horse, okay? I like this photo. Let's look at this one. Okay. Oh yeah, and then this one piece goes down here and attaches. It's really interesting. Okay. But see if you can palpate this muscle here. And here's the insertion point in the point of buttock. You guys can see that, right? See that one comes and wraps around and inserts right there. Okay, and then the rest of them go up and insert up here. There's the 3 bundles. Look at this side is pretty cool. You can see how isn't that awesome? What did we ever do? Look at how it inserts right there. In there. What did we do without these diagrams before? I don't know. Okay. Insertion points up there, insertion points up there. So this week, what I want you to do is just go out and see if you can trace out the biceps femoris. See if your horse has, a reaction to it. So go real slow to begin with, maybe start up here, go real slow. And then I want you to focus down here on this section, especially if your horse had a long weekend. And see if, go real slow and see if you can pinpoint the areas that they're tight. And then do some linear friction or petrissage or effleurage. And then kind of move that muscle around a little bit. And see if you can get them to release off that. Really satisfying, to be honest with you. When I started working on William, he got huge releases. So that was the spot that he needed. And it was really important for him that that was found. Because I don't know, today would have been really rough for him had he not gotten that massage on Friday. I'm gonna talk about something else I learned. Just doing all this work, all this prep for this weekend. Monthly massage is not enough. It's not enough by a professional. It's not enough. And I always thought monthly is a good schedule. And the thing is, my clients are on 2 months because I don't have time to do them monthly. But learning, well, actually, I'm gonna clarify a little bit. My clients are 90% of them are mid to high range dressage horses, and they get consistent work 4 times to 5 times a week. So then when they go to shows, it is not a huge change in their physical, what they're doing. Now, mentally, it's a lot. Shows are a lot mentally, but physically, showing is not much harder than what they do on their daily basis. Okay, so my clients do pretty well with less massage, but what I was doing with Georgia this weekend, and then what Julia was doing with William, is a big change. And a monthly massage would not have been enough for either one of them. So I'm really gonna probably start hammering down on owners need to, as most of you, if not all of you, have already done my online clinic, you need to have a base level of knowledge on how to massage your own horse. If you are doing work above, light work. If it's above light work, if it's medium to hard work, like this was hard. This weekend was hard. You have to know some basic massage skills to help your horse through these situations. It's important. And I didn't really have that mentality until I saw what transpires when they don't get it. It's hard on them. Oh, I also did I did an impromptu massage clinic for the ladies on my team, which was phenomenal. And I was like, we have this group text, and I said, I was gonna go massage Georgia because she was working super hard and she had the beginning of mental fatigue. And so I am at least going to help out what I can, and I'm going to help her physical fatigue. So I was like, I'm going to massage her before we begin. So Saturday, at like 3 o'clock, we had to be in the arena by by 6:15. So at 3 o'clock, I was like, I'm going to massage my horse. And I go, I'm just gonna open it up to everybody. If they want to bring their horse over here, they can bring their horse over. So I was like, hey, I'm massaging Georgia. If you want to learn how to massage your horse, come on over. We'll do it as a group. And I had 4 people come. So it was really cool. And 2 of them absolutely had huge, huge benefits. Really excellent, excellent benefits. I have a lot of videos. I'll be putting the photos out, but I put I called it, it's like speed dating, but it's speed massaging. So they all came in, there were 4 of them. They just followed my lead. I was like, we're gonna do this right now. And the breakthroughs, we had some breakthroughs on 2 of those horses, for sure. And it was funny because then later Gabby, my other friend, was like, he feels so much better today. It's wild. And then I could tell that they were doing some of the massage moves in between the runs, which was funny because it was always me being the weirdo that gets off their horse and starts massaging them. Yeah, that was me. And now I'm like a rash, you know? I just spread and people start doing weird stuff. So it was pretty cool, but that was a fun, just kind of, I was like, I'm just gonna invite everyone because I'm doing it anyways, and a lot of people showed up, so it was really cool. But yeah, that was that. Any questions? Any questions about anything? Next week's gonna be kind of cool if you want to hear the story about how I stacked the deck in our favor, and I did, big time. Okay. Good. Well, go check out your horse's bicep femoris. And if you have multiple horses, check them all out. Okay. If you're at a barn, you can go bother somebody else's horse and see how that works out. And then let me know. Put it in the coaching group for those of you that are in that. Okay. All right, guys. I got to take a week off now. I'm going to take a week off. I've accomplished my goals for this week, so I'm good. All right. Thanks for joining. See you next Sunday. Thank you. Bye.